Okay, hello everyone. I hope everyone is online. Who is not online, I hope that you will enjoy this Facebook and YouTube live later because it should be really fun. I have three special people today with me, but first, I forgot. The topic today is what are superheroes made of? Here at America House Chisinau and in America House Belts and other corners, we promote American culture. And one of the main pop thing that America produces is comics, specifically superheroes. And we will talk about them today. We will talk how they were created, how superheroes are impacting, influencing the society, and everything like that. But first of all, I would like to introduce my co hosts today. So please, ladies, unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Let's start with Alina, okay.
Hi everyone, I am Marina. I am an American Spaces volunteer with America House Belts, and I am from Drocea, Moldova.
By the way, before you muted yourself back, what's your superhero? What's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero of all time since childhood is Aquaman.
Okay, perfect. Okay, next, Alexandra, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hi, I am Alexandra. I'm a volunteer at America House Chisinau, and my superhero, I think, is PG Carter.
I don't know about this superhero, but you will tell us later about him, her, them. I don't know. You will tell us. Okay, great. And Angelina, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Angelina. I am American Spaces volunteers, probably in America House Chisinau. And I'm very glad today because we have the most wonderful topic ever.
Okay,
Yeah, and
I'm also happy. Yeah, what's your
I
superhero?
think my superhero since my childhood was Wonder Woman. Don't know why. Yeah, but it is.
We will try to find out why specifically her or maybe other female characters are so interesting to you. But first, let's start talking about Marvel and DC. So, for that, I will ask you and everyone else who is watching us online to join me on a short questionnaire. It will be very easy. You just put on your camera on, you just take a photo or just aim on this QR code, and it will give you the option to join my kind of like quiz thing. It's not hard, trust me, it's very easy to do. If you are there, just let me know by clicking on a cat that I put it there, because I love Catwoman. I think she was a fabulous character, but we'll talk about her later. Okay, I see that people are joining us there. By the way, there will be kind of one more person that will join us, but not like with the camera, but she sent us the video presentation about Marvel universe. It's Alexandra Chernak. She's also our volunteer, but we will go this a bit later. So right now, I think we have some people already here. So I will ask you to answer the question, what superpower would you like to have? Just think about this and we will see what people do think. And what do you think about this? I'm curious to know. Let me answer this as well. Okay. And then click submit. So we will be able to see it. Okay. Reading other, I think it was reading other people's minds. Super smarts. Okay, super smarts. Probably it should be something about the brains and being super smart. Okay, I think that will be enough for us for now. Or if someone can send the answers, it will be perfect. But let's go further. So right now, I think we can start with a conversation about specifically Marvel and DC. So first of all, let's start with DC. Since Alina, you are here, maybe you can tell us more about this universe, how it was created, and I think it will be interesting starter for the conversation. So please share your screen
Yeah,
and
sure.
feel free to tell us everything.
Yes.
And by the way, everyone who is online, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section below, just in case. Write down your superhero that you love, superpower. Just let's talk there down in the comments and we will check them later. Okay, Lena, it's up to you
Okay,
right now.
sure. Hi, everyone. So this is my very formal and very objective presentation on DC Comics, why I love them and why you should as well. So let's begin with the history of DC Comics and let's get to the point where are they now. So DC Comics or Detective Comics is one of the largest and oldest American comic book companies, founded in 1935. The majority of its publications take place within the fictional DC universe and feature multiple cultural iconic heroes, but they also have subprints that feature lesser known, more independent heroes or otherwise normal people. But the most iconic heroes produced by DC in their mainstream comics are Superhuman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They're also sometimes referred to as the Golden Superhero Trio. The universe features well-known supervillains who oppose the heroes that also have become icons of their own, such as the supervillain Lex Luthor, featured in most Superman comics, and the Joker, which is not only a Batman antagonist but also a character on his own right in modern interpretation. It is impossible to figure out how large the comic base for DC Comics is, but in 2020 the DC fandom, which is a website, so 22 million people check in during the 24-hour period of the comic book creators' largest convention. So the DC-ness of the comics, what are DC Comics and what are the most iconic traits that make them recognizable to consumers? DC Comics made a name for themselves in 1939 by being founded by Malcolm Whelan Nicholson. During that time, its company was known as the National Allied Publication. The initials DC Comics were taken from the Detective Comics series. That's the series centered on Batman that became its most iconic character. There was a line of comic books called the Action Comics, which featured new hero Superman. And eventually the two lines merged, and the company was just named DC Comics. It was during the 1965 when the industry introduced a new hero by the name of the Flash, and that brought in Wonder Woman and the Justice League of America, which is the main superhero group that the DC universe centers around. There are other teams such as the Teen Titans and the others, but most publications center around the Justice League and its members. So, another question is, who are the most iconic DC heroes of all time? Who are the people buying the comics, looking for its thing? So there is Batman, the most publicized, most sold superhero of all time that has had several movie adaptations, several cartoon adaptations. The most iconic of which, to the date, is the Dark Knight trilogy of director Christopher Nolan. 2022, however, will bring us a new Batman, as played by Twilight star Robert Pattinson, and we will see if Batman will indeed once again prove to be the most commercially stable hero of all time. After that, we have DC's most well-known gods, the heroes Superman and Wonder Woman. both made with the same concept of creating superheroes that are not mere people with special abilities that but are gods or like godlike in power that tend to protect humanity and understand it from an outsider perspective. Superman is one of the most published heroes of all time and is an icon of American culture as represented in most foreign movies. And there is Wonder Woman that is not only the most iconic woman superhero of all time, but an icon of women from all over the world. And representation of Greek mythology into the comics, showing once again the universal, overwhelming nature of the universe DC is trying to create. Aquaman is another superhero created by Marvel Comics. He is also part of the Justice League of America. He's the king of Atlantis, the Lost City under the Sea. And in the new movies, he's played by actor Jason Momoa and is currently being redesigned to fit more in line with the view of the modern world. Uh, Among younger superheroes, especially popular with people born in the 90s and 2000s, there are the Nightwing and the Flash. They are both teen superheroes that later grow on to become heroes of their own. Nightwing starting out as Robin, as Batman's apprentice, and the Flash being also a teen superhero as Speedster. And there is DC's most mysterious character, the Martian Manhunter, a character known for his lack of personal attributes, but otherwise outrageous heroism, amazing powers, and being interesting for doing what's right, as opposed to other characters that are sometimes more nuanced and more moral. The Martian Manhunter always tries to do what's best for saving the world.
I haven't heard about by the last one, by the way.
Oh, introducing
I
the
have
new.
I have a homework to do.
Oh, of course, of course. And so we are now getting stuck listening to my favorite superhero. How bad of a job, but the King under the Sea is the son of Atlantis, the best hero of DC Comics, in my personal and very, very objective opinion. You cannot disagree. It's the son of a lighthouse keeper and the Atlantean queen Arthur Carey is the bridge between the surface world and his tumultuous world of the sea. He is a monarch of the Underseas realm of Atlantis and the king of the seven seas. Aquaman is one of the most powerful DC superheroes, commanding a kingdom that covers three-quarters of the Earth's surface, including all of the creatures contained within. Arthur Curry comes from a humble background. Most of his life was spent exiled away from home, unaware of his noble origin. When he finally took the throne as an adult, he became the most legendary king in Atlantean history. And in my personal real life opinion, Aquaman beats all other heroes because of his power to appeal to audiences as their ages change. His forever relatability as an outsider in his own home and needing to prove himself to be worthy of the things that he actually deserves from birth, but needing to prove himself twice to be the man qualified for the job, as well as his general empathy and the fact that a character that seemingly has a pretty sad backstory as he was raised away from Atlantis. His mother, in varying comics, either died or abandoned him. His father dies, and his greatest villain, the Black Manta, is someone he actually agrees with. So he's a pretty tragic character, and you'd think he'd be serious and broody and try to solve his conflicts by holding a lecture. But in reality, Aquaman is a very goofy, very fun character. He is very empathetic. He is someone who finds humor and a relatability element to each and every villain. He's a break from Batman and Superman, who always appeal to morally complex ideas. He gets the job done, he's very kind, and he makes some of the best jokes in whatever series he's in. So he always stands out to me as a personality that I'd like to have around me, even if we are not talking about saving the world. And he's now getting his own series of movies that you all should watch about how he's a nice man having a very badass wife.
Have a fabulous hair.
Cool. Go watch Aquaman. Thank you.
Have you started liking him before or after the movie?
Before, I watched the animated Batman series that was made in I think in the 2000s. And he's a guest character in a couple of episodes, and that was from my childhood. So, yeah.
Okay. So, as I told you that I didn't know about one character that you said, Manhunter, I think. So, here in America House Chisinau, we have a book that I will probably read if no one else will grab it. So just in case someone is watching here in Chisinau, feel free to come visit us and check this book. It's about DC comic characters. It has a lot of those. Pictures are fabulous. So you can always grab some book for 2 weeks and have fun with it, read it, and enjoy it. Okay, so the next one, since, as I said, that one volunteer wouldn't be here, but she sent us the video presentation that I will share right now. It's about Marvel Universe. This presentation was made by Alexander Chernyak, so feel free to enjoy it and share your opinions about Marvel versus DC, share your opinions about this, what team you are on. Okay, let's go with Alexandra's presentation.
Line published by Marvel.
Sorry, let's do
Marvel
it. Marvel
Comics
like
is an American comic book line published by Marvel Entertainment. Affectionately called the House of Ideas by the Fan Press, Marvel's best-known comics titles include Fantastic Four, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Daredevil, Thor, Captain America, and X-Men. Most of Marvel's fictional characters reside in the Marvel Universe. Since the 1960s, it has been one of the two largest American comics companies, along with DC Comics. But not many know how it became so successful. So let's jump back to 1939. Marvel Comics was founded by established pulp magazine publisher Martin Goodman as an eventual group of subsidiary companies under the umbrella name Timely Comics. Its first publication was Marvel Comics #1 in October 1939. The company's first editor, the writer-artist Joe Simon, teamed up with soon-to-be industry legend Jack Kirby to create one of the first patriotically themed superheroes, Captain America, in Captain America Comics #1 in March 1941. It proved a major sales hit. Sales of all comic books declined drastically in the post-war era as the superheroic Übermensch archetype, popular during the Depression and the war years, went out of fashion. In the wake of DC Comics' success reviving superheroes in the late 50s and early 60s, particularly with the Justice League of America, Marvel decided to follow suit. That's when they introduced the Fantastic Four #1 in November 1961. Marvel began publishing further superhero titles featuring such heroes and anti-heroes as the Hulk, Spider-Man, Thor, Ant-Man, the X-Men, and such memorable antagonists as Doctor Doom, Magneto, the Green Goblin, and Dr. Octopus. And so, from this moment, they were and are getting more and more popular thanks to Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko. That's enough history for today. Let's talk about interesting facts about Marvel which you might not know. In the early 90s, Michael Jackson tried to buy Marvel Comics just so that he could play Spider-Man in his own produced movie. Due to strange laws in the USA, importing toys resembling humans are taxed higher than those that don't. Marvel successfully argued in court that because their X-Men action figures are mutants, not actually humans, they should be exempt from such higher tax. Venom, the Spider-Man villain, was a fan-based concept that Marvel actually bought just for $220. In 2002, a 4-year-old boy suffering from hearing loss didn't want to wear a hearing aid because superheroes don't. To get him to wear his hearing aids, Marvel Comics created a superhero with a hearing aid, which they called Blue Ear. And the last fact. Iron Man was created by Stan Lee as a challenge to create a hero that no one should like and force people to like him. And I think the mission was successfully accomplished. So, what makes Marvel Comics so special? Marvel Comics differentiated itself from DC Comics in the 20th century by introducing human, fallible superheroes with unlikely or unexpected origin stories. Also, unlike DC, Marvel told stories that were set in real-life locations, such as New York City. Marvel Comics were noted for focusing on characterization to a greater extent than most superhero comics before them. This was true of The Amazing Spider-Man in particular. Its young heroes suffer from self-doubt and mundane problems like any other teenager. Marvel superheroes are often flawed, freaks, and misfits, unlike the perfect, handsome, athletic heroes found in previous traditional comic books. Some Marvel heroes look like villains and monsters. In time, this non-traditional approach would revolutionize comic books. That is what makes them unique. That's all I have to say about Marvel Comics. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thanks to Alexandra. So far, I would like to answer to one of the comments that we had. So, Nikolai, as I understand, is asking about probably the book, how it much cost. We don't sell books here. We're like a library, so feel free to just come over and register here in our library, and you will be able to have this book for 2 weeks. And I think it will be more than enough to just read all about it, and I think it will be enough information for you. And again, it's for free for 2 weeks. Yeah, and we also have Marvel book. So everyone that you want to know about, we have it here. So a lot of books that we have. Besides that, we have Harry Potter and everything like this. So feel free to come over and just check what we have, because it's not that easy to find books in English here in Moldova. So feel free and just join us here. Okay, ladies, I want to ask you, and those who are online here right now, before we will go to the next topic, since we talked about Marvel and DC thing, I will ask you once again to join me here on Mentimeter and to make your decision. Who is gonna win, Marvel versus DC? First of all, let me wait for a little bit while, because we have some delay with our audience, so let them all connect. Feel free to just aim your camera on the screen, and it will show you all of the interesting information, and I will ask you to make a decision. Okay, I think people are here already. Okay, let's go. Vote for Marvel or DC. I just want to know who's gonna win. I'm not making any decisions. I'm not gonna tell my opinion yet, but in the end, I will definitely share it. Okay, so everyone is voting. Okay, at least someone voted for DC. Okay. I think that's enough. Okay, we see that Marvel is leading so far. Okay, I'm gonna share my opinion a bit later, but before that, I would like to know, to ask our volunteers, Alexandra and Angelina, to talk about the impact that the comic books has. Because one thing that we all love superheroes and they're great, but what makes them even more great? What makes an impact? So I would like to ask Alexandra Mania to start sharing her presentation and to talk about the impact that comic book has on the society.
So I will speak how you said about how did comic books reflect what is happening in society. So firstly, I will speak about like with the superhero kids. They can learn the importance of teamwork. They can learn about how to respect each other's abilities and opinions. Secondly, female leads make girls like us feel more strong, brave, confident, inspired, positive, and motivated, and ultimately empower them to feel like they can achieve anything they put their mind to. Moreover, we can see the representation of LGBTQ plus in the comics, and the superheroes isn't just helping queer kids, but also non-queer children view LGBT people in a much more positive and empowering light. So that's a very good idea. Black Panther actor Chadwick Boseman said that when you can see somebody that is of color, Latino, Asian, African, when you can see that, it frees you from that boundary as well. So it's exciting to me to see kids of all races see Black Panther because it's a freeing process of everybody. And I totally agree with him. I have the same opinion.
That's great. Okay, continue.
Marvel Comics offer fans a diverse range of LGBTQ plus characters, as I said. You can see on the photo two of them. We can see Ultimate X-Men and also North Star get together, and they get together very well. This example shows that everyone deserves to be seen as heroic, powerful, and worthy as them. We will speak now about Peggy Carter, that is my favorite superhero. She is more of like a spy, and curiosity is that today young women make up 46% of comic book readership. It was hypnotized that female gender roles in Marvel Comics in the last decade have become less stereotypical and more equitable. And that is very, very good. Female gender roles in comic books often reflect values and attitudes of their writers and readers, and they both illustrate and chronicle the year in which they were published. As I said, P.G. Carter, we have her as an example. She's Dr. Margaret Elizabeth, and she was one of the most prominent agents of the Strategic Scientific Reserve during and after World War II, and one of the founders of SHIELD. So as you can see, she is very, very brave.
I totally agree. Now, you were talking about her, right? Peggy Carter, in the beginning.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to ask you all, ladies, to tell me your opinion about the female superheroes. So, when you were watching those superhero movies, in the beginning, probably it was more about the guys and less about the ladies, because I'm trying to remember, but I remember Superwoman, Wonder Woman, and basically Catwoman was not a superhero. She was somewhere in between. How did you feel about this? How did you feel about those female characters? Tell me about this. Did it influence you specifically, somehow? Feel free to unmute yourself, whoever wants.
So personally, they made me feel more like strong and brave. I think that they, all of them, have a specific and special thing as us, and that was a good idea to implement females in comics and also movies.
If anyone wants to add, feel free to unmute yourself.
I really take a stance on that it really influences us. Because when you're a young lady, you just see this example of poverty and you feel that it's the right way. And it's like a great example for you. You're just starting doing something and feeling confident, maybe.
I totally agree. And also, when I was getting ready for our session, I read more about the comic universe and the thing about the female character, superheroes, people of color, LGBTQIA plus community. It's not only about representing them, it's also giving a lot of creators that are, for example, people of color. They are telling their stories and they are not as side characters now. They are the main people. So besides us having a new superhero, also a lot of people have a new job, new options for them to grow before that, because it was just dominated by men. It's not about, again, that men are bad or something like this, but now it is more diversity, and now we have more different kind of stories, and I'm very happy to hear that it even has impact on such a young generation as you are. Alina, I'm sorry I didn't let you talk. If you have anything to add to this, please do.
I mean, it kind of validates a lot of people, especially a lot of young girls, young women, future young women in some jobs, that some of us can get somewhere and can have a great career. And well, I can say most of my childhood I watched Batman movies. I can say that the films that started coming out when I was in my early teen years, so the live action movies like Captain America 1, Captain America 2, Captain Marvel, these are kind of, I guess, more important for the young girls that are growing now.
Okay, and also, Alexandra, there is one more supporter about Peggy Carter. Victoria is telling that she's seen seasons about Peggy Carter for 2 times, so she is her role model. I'm happy to know that. Okay, and before we will go to the next questions from our viewers, I would ask Angelina to continue this topic, because representation really does matter and it's a huge subject. So that's why I've asked 2 volunteers to do this. So Angelina, please show us your presentation.
Yeah, 1 second.
And before Angelina is getting ready, feel free to leave your questions in the comments, or just write your favorite superhero. I will list them all a bit later. Okay, Angelina, your turn.
So today I am talking about comics and their reflection on society. So let's start. Let's discuss American superhero comics. So American superhero comics have been around for over 70 years. Can you imagine that? Because I cannot. In that period, not only the genre and its medium matured, but also the social, cultural, political environment changed. I also think the audience changed and grew up. So that's the point. And with the help of Wonder Woman, Captain America, and Black Panther today, we are going to prove comics' impact on society. So let's go. So the first one is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a fictional character of DC Comics, created by William Moulton Marston as a distinctly feminist role model, whose mission was to bring the Amazon ideals of love, peace, and sexual equality to a world that was hated by men. Just there were no men, actually. Yeah. So I think it's an example of woman power. Yeah, and I really love this character. I mean, I love all of woman character in DC and Marvel comics. So let's go out. And one more fact. It's the most wonderful and iconic female superhero in comics. Wonder Woman is also considered as a feminist icon. Yeah, and here you can see just one of the first comics and the last one. And I really love the changes, more details, and you can see, you can write in comments what do you like more. And let's go to the second character. So it's Captain America. And Captain America is a superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. Since the series' inception in 1931, Captain America has reflected the ever-changing popular ideals of American society. In the 1940s, Captain America reflected some of the hyper-patriotism the country embodied during World War II. And here you also can see some of the first comics here. And this is the last one. Yeah, but here I like more of the earlier version because it's something more atmospheric for me. And let's go to the last one character. It's Black Panther. So Black Panther is a fictional character and superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. What makes the Black Panther such a significant figure in American popular culture as well as Black popular culture is its groundbreaking representation of Blackness as more the stereotypical meaning and racist trope of inferiority. So here also is the first one, version of comics and the nowadays how it looks like. And here I like more the nowadays version. Yeah, it's more popular, I think, and more creativity, including creativity. Yeah.
Okay, I totally agree with your choice of the covers. Okay, so as I said, thank you very much, ladies, for creating those presentations. They were very informative, at least for me. I hope it was also informative for our viewers. So, right now we have some answers about their favorite superheroes. So, one more, it was Superman. I like Superman, though. You know, even though in the beginning he seemed kind of boring for me just because he was invincible, but also if you will look at his character, that he was the only person who was born as a superhero, and he needed to hide it, so he needed to hide it as just a normal person. So it is just very interesting, and I think that it's just represents the life as well. Like sometimes we need to hide who we are. So I think a lot of people will find something in this character. I think X-Men done this as well. And we also have a question from Valeria. How do you think, is it essential for a superhero to have a set childhood story? If yes, then why? Ladies, I will let you answer if you have an opinion about this. Let me put this on the screen. Angelina, you have something to say. If not, it's fine. I will talk.
Yeah, I think it is not essential for a superhero to have a set childhood story, but I think it more depends on his personality, and if he has a large heart and just motivation to do something right or to change the world, this matters. Yeah, that's
Okay,
why.
I think I agree. I totally agree because we have so many different characters, and as Alexandra mentioned, that Marvel created Iron Man just as a challenge because he was born in a very rich, successful family, and mostly he was not acting very right. So it was a challenge to make him a lovable person, because usually, for example, when you see Spider-Man, that is a poor student that is very relatable, he has problems in his university, it's easier to fall in love with someone like Spider-Man. But yeah, I totally agree because one of my favorite superheroes is Batman, and he was obviously also kind of like Tony Stark as Iron Man. He was also rich, but at the same time, I like the darkness about him. I like everything that is twisted. He's not very just doing good things. That's the thing that I like about Batman. That is, he's not a stereotypically just a good doer, if you can say so. Yeah, but the main thing that I like about the comic books, it's actually villains. So I will ask you and the people in the who are live with us right now, just feel free to write your let's say favorite or most hateful villain. So I will start. My super villain is, I think, Joker, just because I love Batman. And Joker, you kind of, if you well, you cannot watch this movie. So you are not 18 yet. But when you will be 18 years of age, I mean, officially you cannot. But when you will be like more mature, maybe it's 16 years of age restriction. Anyway, you just check with your parents. But the Joker movie or every other movie, when you see the Joker, you kind of understand why he's doing this. You know, you kind of understand the his reasoning. He's doing something bad just because society made him. I mean, it's not an excuse, of course, but you see how some words and some action can create a villain. So for me, he's a perfect representation that probably you need to think more about what are you saying and to who you are saying. So, ladies, I will ask you to tell me about your villains, if there is one. Maybe you can share, and why do you choose this villain? You can start. Anyone can start.
So
Yeah.
I'll start. My favorite villain of all time from a superhero comic is from a small DC Comics imprint that's publishing the comic book The Boys. It became a TV show a couple years ago. So the the main essence of The Boys is that the real villains are the superheroes, and the people against the superheroes are actually very right. So my favorite villain is the hero Homelander. He's an he's a twisted version of Superman in a way. He's an he's a human man that the people believe he was born an alien. He does not have a personal identity. He's a hero 24/7. He is addicted to the attention and worship that he gets out of saving people, to the point that he starts tragedies just to rescue the people involved in them. He lacks a sense of awareness about what relationships are, what humans are, and his overall interactions with the boys. So the villains, as they're portrayed by the media, show that there's a lot of nuance to what we can interpret to be a hero and what a sad backstory even is, because technically Homelander does have a sad backstory. It's sad he didn't have a choice in becoming the superhero persona of not having a personality. But at the same time, you can't just excuse that he murders people, that he's an awful person, with just the fact that
You
he
understand the
doesn't-
reasons, you mean, right?
Yeah, there's no.
Okay.
It's a pretty fascinating perspective on what could happen if comic books were real.
And where do you find those comics? Where do you read them?
They you can buy them online, but the TV show is pretty good.
Okay, great. So we are able to find it. Okay, Alexandra, if you have something to add, or Angelina, feel free to do so.
I think that the most so my favorite villain from Marvel is Venom. That is from Spider-Man view, and I really liked him. But I don't remember very much of the actions in the movie, so I can't talk very much about him.
I agree. We don't have here a lot of comic books. I know some shops do, but now everything is available online, so probably we'll pay more attention. But I agree with Venom. He's also very fascinating, and he's just like an opposite of the main character, Spider-Man. It's the same as Joker and Batman. Joker is just complete opposite of Batman, but you kind of like both of them. Okay, and Angelina, I don't remember if you have some villain, please share.
So I'll stay with Catwoman because I really love her like personality. She is independent and brave, and I like her like group work with Batman. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, I agree totally. I am agreeing with everything today, but it's just hard to disagree because, for example, Catwoman was perfect in the movie, and also I love video games, and there was like a game DC versus someone I don't remember, but I was playing as Catwoman because she was the strongest player, at least for me. Okay, so right now we have 40 minutes, 45 minutes already, so I cannot take any longer. I'm so happy for the amount of comments and that we received. Thank you everyone who were able to join us today, and I think we will continue doing similar sessions about superheroes or comic books. Feel free to write in the comments what we should talk about next related to comic books. And ladies, I thank you so much for making your presentations. Everything was super informative. And if it was informative for me, I hope it was as well informative for our audience. So for now, goodbye everyone, and thank you so much.
Thanks, bye.